Hello everyone! Today we're just going to be taking a look at the soil probe. You've probably heard me talk about this. This is a wonderful tool that you should invest in if you want to get into plants. The reason why I would recommend this is because overwatering kills the majority of the plants that have died in people's care. We're all guilty of it, at some points we've, not really known how much water our plant should need, or maybe overwatered our succulents, not given enough sunlight, the list goes on. But this is actually a really great tool. So I'll talk a little bit about this and show you guys how to use it. Very straightforward stuff. What I have here in front of me is just a little tiny pothos propagation that I had going. I water propagated these guys and then put them into some soil recently, and it's doing pretty well. So to use this guy, I think I bought this at Lowe's for like 10 bucks. I may have gotten it online, not totally positive, but I can guarantee you that a Lowe's or a Home Depot or probably even a Walmart near you carries these, or you can get them on Amazon or whatever. You can use my affiliate link down below, and I will have things like this on my list. So this actually has 3 different settings on it. It has a moisture setting, a light setting, and then a pH setting. I only ever really use the moisture setting, but you can switch it to the light mode, and then it will kind of get you an idea through this reader here. Don't know the word. If you hold it up to a window or different areas in your house, the level of light that you have to give it. And actually, the back of this packaging had a list of like all these common house plants and the moisture level that you should keep them at, as well as the light conditions. So that's a really helpful resource. If you buy one of these guys, you can use that as kind of like a quick reference until you begin to memorize and kind of familiarize yourself with your plants. So to use this, very straightforward. I always have it set to the moist setting, and then I just stick this guy down into the soil, and hopefully you guys can see there, that meter is actually going to reflect how wet or dry the soil is, which I think this guy, oh no, here we go, I can show you here now. So you have to stick it down in there pretty far. You can see that the prong there is around the moist mark, which is indicating to me that there's some moisture left in the bottom of this pot. So I'm going to hold off on watering it until it's more dry. So this saves me from digging my finger in there and kind of feeling around, or if you have a bigger plant and you have a bigger pot, something that isn't really accessible because there's so much foliage to really stick your finger in there, these guys can be a great, great tool. I would highly recommend these. Really great for getting down into your soil and really seeing if you need to water it or not. Sometimes it's not always straightforward to tell, and things like this are really helpful. So if you're choosing not to purchase one of these though, I can show you just a quick way to check the moisture level of your soil. So if I just stick my finger down into this pot about 1 inch, I can feel that there's some moisture left down in there. But another way that you can look, I have dirt on the end of my finger, little particles. If this plant were dry, it would be very unlikely that I would have these little particles of dirt on my finger. Let me see if I have a dry plant that I can show you. All right, guys. So for all intents and purposes, I brought this little snake plant propagation. It looks a little pathetic, don't touch me. But so let me just show you a difference here. I'm gonna stick my finger in some soil that actually has some moisture left in the bottom of it. So I can feel on my finger that it still has some moisture. And you can see, that wasn't really a good example. You can see that my hand has some like black residual material left on it. And that's a good indication that there is still some moisture in the soil. And more likely than not, you're going to want to hold off on watering it. There are a few exceptions to this rule, like maybe a Spathiphyllum or a Dracaena, or another plant like a Dieffenbachia maybe even, that prefers a little bit of a moister soil, like an evenly moist soil but not wet. That's pushing it, but you'll be able to gauge. So that is contrasted by me sticking my finger into this succulent soil here, the snake plant soil. And you can see I really don't have any dirt on my finger, like very, very little amount of dirt when compared to if I stick my finger in this This guy here, you can see that I have a bunch of dirt on my finger left over. So if you can't, for whatever reason, feel if there's moisture or not, take a look at how much dirt is left on your finger whenever you come back out, and you'll be able to tell then whether or not you need to water something or not. Something that is as dry as this pot right now is actually good. You know, sansevierias have succulent type foliage and don't really need to be watered too frequently. I do have another video on sansevierias though if you want to watch that. Link will be down below. Also, something else to note about these guys is that you want to make sure that you're cleaning off the prongs in between each use. I'm guilty of not doing that sometimes. It depends. So, you know, if you have scale or a disease or a bacteria or some kind of virus on this plant here and you don't really know it, you can actually expose these prongs to that whenever you dig it in the soil and then pull it out without cleaning it and then go ahead and stick it into another plant. Then that virus or bacteria or scale or pest or whatever could be on this prong is now in the soil of your other plants. So it's a good practice to get into cleaning these prongs off in between use and in between plants. If not, it's not the end of the world though. At least it hasn't been the end of the world for me. Knock on wood. But yeah, guys, if you have any more questions about things like this, there's plenty of different kinds of these, different soils, ones that just do moisture. This was just the one that was readily available to me, but you can definitely find ones that are, more expensive, more luxurious, less expensive, a little more straightforward. But great tool. I could not sustain my plants without a tool like this to just go around and stick in and see, do I need to water this or not? It's so much easier than getting down and dirty sometimes. So I hope this answers your questions about how to use these guys, what they're used for, and the benefits. So let me know if you have any questions. Bye.